Hey there, I'm Ulf at HoboRec. Today we're doing another microphone video. And today it's the Lewitt LCT 640 TS. So to be honest, I've been sleeping on the Lewitt microphones for a while, but I've been hearing really good things about them from several people in my network of audio people. But I thought we were gonna do something more fun and experimental than just doing like a test of the microphone, because this LCT 640 TS has a feature that it's not so common in microphones. You get this extra cable with it and you plug it in on the side of the microphone, which means you have two outputs on the front of the microphone and on the back separately. So you have two separate outputs on the same capsule. And Lewitt also delivers this microphone with a plugin for your DAW that's called Polarizer, which means you can choose the polar pattern in post. So you record everything on one stereo track and you put this plugin on it, and then you can switch between cardioid, supercardioid, figure of eight, omnidirectional, or whatever you want. You can pretty much do it stepless, just going and slide through all the settings and see whatever sounds best. So the idea I had for today's video is to record a full song with this microphone, only this microphone, and then I'm gonna do a quick mix of it, and then we're gonna listen through the song and we're gonna switch the polar patterns steplessly through the song back and forth, and you can see exactly what the different polar patterns are doing. Not only on one source, but the full song simultaneously. Usually I come up with a short little snippet of a song for this kind of things, but today I have my girlfriend here helping out. She's playing in a band called GASP, and we're gonna borrow a little bit of a new song they're working on and try to play a little with that. Yeah, so I'm gonna start with drums. Gina is gonna play guitar and vocals, and I'm gonna play bass guitar. There will be a chance for you to download the multitracks so you can listen to the files yourself and play around with the Polarizer plugin, because the plugin is free and you can download it from Lewitt's website, so you don't even need a microphone to play around with that. Let's get going. So as I said, you have this breakout cable to access the split output, different outputs for the front and back of the capsule. And to activate the dual output, you push this button and hold it for a couple of seconds until the green Lewitt logo lights up. That means you have double outputs. And for the drums, I found this placement that I really liked. It's like 1.5 meters back from the drum kit. The mic is pointed towards the snare and it picks up a very good balance between the toms, the kick drum and the snare. The only thing, I have to move the ride cymbal out of the way so it's not directly in front of the microphone. That would have made the ride really overwhelming in the mix, so I moved it over to the side. So this will also be my debut recording on my new Evo 16 interface from Audient. I'm activating 48 volt phantom power on channel 1. That's the cable going into the regular input of the microphone, because the microphone needs phantom power to work. And input number 2, no phantom power there. The good thing on the Evo interface is I can link channel 1 and 2 to have the gain setting exactly the same on both, which is really handy when I'm doing this kind of recording. So here we have the recording. As you see, the front of the microphone goes in on the left channel, the back on the right, and output is a summed version of those. And here we have the representation of the polar pattern. So we can listen to omnidirectional, cardioid, supercardioid, figure of eight, and even turn the microphone backwards. The cardioid and supercardioid seems to be a bit more direct sounding, but I think the semi-cardioid, or whatever you want to call it, gets a better representation of the low end and a bit more of the room, a full sounding sound. For the guitar, which shows the old school Marshall setup, and at first I backed off the microphone a bit, make the changes in the polar pattern more audible, but I thought the guitar sounded better with the microphone really up close, so that's where we ended up using it. So one thing I noticed with the guitar, the most common microphone to use is a cardioid, but the tighter we make the polar pattern, more annoying the high little sizzly sounds get. And we actually get a more rounded, natural sound around here too. the semicardioid. The full omnidirectional gets a bit weird in another way, but somewhere between the semicardioid and cardioid. Sounds really good. For the bass, I actually found the figure of 8 the most suitable. When we move around here in the other direction, we get the low end gets a bit loose and not as tight. Or less pronounced, maybe. And that's also obviously because of the proximity effect, which gets more accentuated by a tighter polar pattern. So I thought we were going to listen through the whole song with the full mix, vocals and everything to get a reference point, and then after that we will listen through it again, while at the same time letting the Polarizer switch polar pattern continuously through the song and see what happens. So as you see, now I've done some automation here to do the same sweep of the polar pattern in the Polarizer plugin. So we're going to listen through the song and let it sweep on all the instruments, vocals, everything at the same time, and see how it affects the mix and the perception of the song. Yeah, so that's what a song sounds like if you change the polar pattern continually through the song. Not really useful in a musical way, perhaps, but it's still a bit educational to see what actually happens with the sound. And when you combine all the different sounds and change the polar pattern simultaneously, you really get a feeling of what's actually happening. So please let me know in the comments what you think. Was this a fun experiment? Did you get anything out of it? And thank you so much to Lewitt for letting me try the microphone and play around with it. And as usual, thank you for sticking around till the end. If you want to download the multi-tracks for the song and try it out yourself, and you can download it for free, the only thing I want in return is your email address. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye bye. Cheers.